Dante Wright. I know a lot of people have heard that name this week. So there has been yet another fatal shooting of an unarmed Black man. Now, this latest incident happened on Sunday by a female officer whom we now know as Kim Potter. She was an officer and she just resigned yesterday. And this is in the Minneapolis suburb of Brooklyn Center. So this is the Brooklyn Center Police Department. Different police department from the Derek Chauvin situation, but literally 10 miles from where George Floyd was killed. Okay. So Dante, contrary to popular belief, Dante Wright was stopped for driving with expired tags, is what police say. And then once they pull him over, they see that he has a warrant for 2 misdemeanor charges. Okay. His mom says she was on the phone with him throughout the situation, and she said that the police were like, get out the car. He was like, why? Like, what are you stopping me for? Why do I need to get out the car? And they're like, I'll tell you once you get out the car. That's one thing I don't like about situations like that. Tell me now. But okay, let's just keep getting into it. So they have him at the car and they have him pinned up against the car and they go to arrest him. And when they do, he gets back in the car and tries to drive off or tries to get away, whatever he's trying to do. So the female officer, Officer Potter, now resigned. She, reaches for her taser, pulls her gun by accident and shoots him in the chest. And then she goes, holy bleep, I shot him. Like, that's literally, she was like, oh my God, y'all, I shot him. So pause. We can really get to that in a minute. All right. So Dante Wright is now deceased. He was a father. He was a son. He was on the phone with his mom. That's crazy that we have to call our parents when we get pulled over because we don't know how the situation is going to end. And this situation obviously ended bad. But this officer who allegedly mistook her gun for her taser. Officer Potter worked for the police department for 26 years. Now, when you think about somebody who mistook their taser for their gun, you would think they were like a rookie or something. Because when I first heard it, I was like, so is she a rookie cop? Like, what? How do you mistake your gun for your taser? She's been on the police department for 26 years and yet still somehow confused her taser for her gun, which are on 2 separate parts of the separate sides of the body. She's a right-handed woman. Her gun's on the right-hand side. The taser is on the left-hand side. The gun is black. The taser is yellow and black. The gun weighs significantly more than taser. And they just have 2 different functions. So Chief Tim Gannon, I think is his name. Gannon, I'm pretty sure that's his name. Chief Tim Gannon of the Brooklyn Center Police Department. He got in a news conference and said that, after he said he believes it was an accident, he said they would use body camera video of the shooting to determine whether Officer Potter would remain on the force. Now, this is obviously before Officer Potter resigned, but also Chief Gannon resigned. For those of you who don't know, he also resigned. But he said they would be using body cam footage to determine whether or not she would remain on the force. At what point do you accidentally kill somebody and you remain on the force? Right. Like, if this was a white soccer mom and you accidentally killed her, would it be a question if she remained on the force? Has she killed a 17-year-old white kid up to no good running from the cops? You know the white kids that you went to high school with, they're, they come from wealthy families, but some of the people, up to no good. So say it was one of them, came from a wealthy family, up to no good, running from the cops, and she accidentally killed him. Would she remain on the force? But because it was a Black man, evading arrest is up for debate, which is always interesting. So we talk about it like, yeah, it's an accident. Now, pause. 2 people have 2 separate things here. Some people are saying it wasn't an accident because how could you, mistake your gun for your taser? And some people are saying it is an accident because when she shot him, she yelled, taser, taser. And that's protocol, letting the fellow officers know that she's about to disperse her taser. And also, I guess, the suspect. But if you think it was an accident, at what point will police stop accidentally killing Black men? Now, when I say that, it's interesting because we've heard this taser situation before. Okay. For those of you who don't know, it is a defense that's been used before. I'll give you just one example. This popular case was made famous by Fruitvale Station. On New Year's Day in 2009, police fatally shot a 22-year-old Black man by the name of Oscar Grant in Oakland, California. And the transit officer that fired his weapon later claimed that he thought it was a taser. So, I mean, when we say we don't believe like things like this, like how can you accidentally mistake your taser for your gun? Like, why is this still a qualifying defense? Like, because when she said, she thought it was a taser, her chief said, yeah, I believe her. She thought it was a taser. And because it may have been an accident, officers oftentimes get let off the hook. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like in this situation, I can see where a jury would be swayed to her, be like, well, she did say taser, taser. She honestly thought it was a taser. But this woman literally had 26 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
26 years. How do you have 26 years of experience and you thought your gun was your taser?
And she was apparently training somebody.
Exactly. She was training somebody. So if you're not training yourself, how can you train somebody else? And we talk about the broken police system, but this is also something with training as well. And we say, modify police training, which they do need to do. Every police department does need to really go into how they're training these officers and fix the problem, because this Black killings haven't just started by police. They're just now being amplified because there's camera phones. Listen, somebody had a camcorder out when Rodney King got beat, and they still got off. But think about all the times before then. Think about the times of the Ku Klux Klan. Think about the times of lynching. Think about Emmett Till. Like, we have such a deep history of being targeted by law enforcement, slave days. Like, so with these law enforcement, like, at what point do we make a distinction? Like, you could have, quote, accidentally killed somebody, but it is a trend. Like, this is not something that's out the blue. It's a trend. But when, like, for people who, this just really bothers me, for people who watch the video and they say, well, he should have listened, he should have complied, etc. Since when is having expired tags a good reason to die? Since when is having 2 misdemeanor warrants a good reason to die? Since when is evading an arrest a good reason to die? Like, because, if I run from the police today, like if I see the police coming towards me and they are saying, hey, you're under arrest, and I run from the police, does that give them permission to kill me? Like, thank you. Like, that does not give the police permission to kill you at all. Like,
So thinking about this, it's like you mentioned, like, let's just talk, right? There have been multiple cases of people who have committed actual murder and gotten only arrested. Dylan Roof walked into a church while people were praying and shot almost all of them dead. The only reason one of them didn't die was because they acted like they were dead already.
Right.
And he got walked out. No, he got found and taken to Burger King on the way to the police station. Multiple mass shooters. The dude in Aurora, Colorado, who shot up the movie theater. Taken to jail. And it just happens countless and countless and countless times. And these are actual murderers, right? School shooters. The Santa Fe shooter down here in near Houston, on trial, meaning didn't get shot, even though clearly killed a bunch of people. Probably had an active live weapon ready to turn on cops if he would have wanted to. Didn't do it. Didn't get shot.
I saw a video of a naked man chasing the police, a naked white man chasing the police, and they're literally running from him and didn't get shot. Right. Meanwhile, police respond to a mental health situation. What was this, in Rochester recently? Rochester, they respond to a mental health situation of a Black guy. He is naked, clearly suffering from mental health issues, and they shoot him and kill him.
Right. So it's like, why I don't get it. And the like, let's you t-
It's disproportionate.
it's disproportionate. You talk about, okay, let's let's so you got that. And let's take into account, let's say it was a mistake with this situation, right? Let's say she thought it was her taser and picked up her gun. First of all, like we said, she's been on the police force 26 years. She was training somebody, and she was the head of the police officers union in that city. She should know more than better than pretty much anybody not titled police chief the difference between a gun and a taser. A taser doesn't even weigh a pound, and a gun is a couple pounds. Ashley, put it like this: you could give me just thinking. I was thinking about it. I'm like, there's got to be a big difference, right? Ashley, you could give me two identical Xbox controllers, right?
Mhm.
And I could pick one up and be like, yo, I'm not even gonna try to turn this on because I know it doesn't have any batteries in it. Just by feeling the weight of it. Like if I picked up my
Mhm.
controller right now and it didn't have batteries in it, I would feel that. So you shouldn't, and that's only a couple ounces. So you should know, one, first of all, your gun is on your dominant hip and your taser's on the other one. Obviously, so this doesn't happen. And two, like you should have known that weight. Like there's no reason to make that mistake. And even if it is a mistake, Ashley, if you're a doctor and you make a mistake and somebody dies for it, at the very, very least, you're going to get sued for malpractice. And you're probably, and if your mistake is egregious enough, you're going to jail. It's that simple. And what I don't understand,
This is a shameless plug. Yeah, I need to watch Dr. Death, the podcast. Some of these doctors have been out here killing people and they were getting away with it until somebody like reported it.
Mhm.
Crazy. Okay, keep going.
But so, like, you make the mistake, Ashley, if you, and I'm not saying you per se, because I would never want this to happen to you, but let's say you're in a car crash, in a car accident, and let's say somebody, not you, somebody gets drunk, gets into a car accident. They did not mean to cause that car accident, but by their negligence and by their mistakes, somebody's life is lost. They're going to jail for manslaughter. It's that simple. If you get in a fight and you accidentally beat somebody ass bad enough that they end up
How do you
dying,
accidentally? Okay.
well, not accidentally beat their ass, but like
Mhm.
you beat
I see
somebody,
what, yeah.
but you
Mhm.
beat somebody bad enough that they die, you're going to jail for at the very least manslaughter. So what I don't understand is why police officers are insulated from all this. Um, I don't even have an I get it moment with this. Like we can make cases for a lot of stuff, but like I do not understand why, because they're quote unquote law enforcement, they're above the law. Like that makes absolutely no sense to me. Like and it's bad because it's the system. Somebody can do something obviously wrong, like I don't know, kneel on somebody's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in clear 4K video, and we're having a trial about it. Somebody can call the cops, say, hey, there's a kid walking down the street. Let me rephrase that, not be a cop. Call the cops, say, hey, there's this kid walking down the street, looks like he's up to no good. The dispatcher says, do not follow
Don't
him,
follow them.
leave him alone. You start a fight, you get your ass whooped, and you shoot him dead and you walk free. That can happen. Like, I don't understand why people who are, and this wasn't even a cop. So I don't understand. And so I don't get how people who are sworn to protect and serve are not protecting and serving everybody, yet still get off scot free. There should be no reason that, like I said, somebody can do this on video. You can see them. Okay, he got in his car, he tried to drive away. That happens all the time. There's no reason that this should end in death. I get it. Arrest him. If you got your taser, tase him, get him under in the custody, whatever you got to do. But it should never, ever, ever end in death. Just because people fail to realize, just because you commit a crime does not mean you have to die behind it. Because people commit crimes every day. People run traffic lights, people speed, people jaywalk, people steal from grocery stores, but they don't end up dead. And I don't understand why disproportionately, well, one, period, but two, disproportionately, it's people that look like me and you that we have to worry when a cop walks up to us. We have to worry when we're just minding our business. Like I and I've had this legitimate fear. Like I'm just out minding my business. Cop rolls up to me. I don't want to deal with what he got to say, and stuff goes south. And now I'm gone. Like, and we've seen it
But
happen in
but you
Plano.
also have people who officers who are looking
Exactly.
for
And I
things.
was just about to
I
get to that.
literally was at a light one time,
Mhm.
pulled up beside an officer. We light turned green, we both drove. Then he just stops. So I'm just like, what is he doing? And obviously I'm keep going because we're on the road. And he just gets behind me to run my license plate. Like
Mhm.
there are times where
Like people.
officers are looking for something.
Mhm. And because so like back in like when the snowstorm hit Texas in
Guy
Plano,
walking.
18-year-old kid walking home from work, like literally just got off of work, freezing cold outside, minding his own business. Officer he obviously not doing anything wrong. No reason for the
Mm-mm.
officer to walk up to him. Officer walks up to him, asks him, what he's doing, where he's going, yada yada yada. Kid says, "Hey, I don't really have to tell you anything. Like I'm minding my own business. I'm not doing anything.
Let me go
Leave me
home.
alone. Let me go home." Officer takes offense to that for some reason, and he gets arrested. And it's like, why do I? You know what I wonder, Ashley, and I wonder this a lot. I'm like, what did we do? Like, what did we do to end up like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it that because think about it. We were minding our own business on the other side of the Atlantic in Africa, minding our own business. They came and got us, brought us over here, and treat us like crap for the past 400 years. And then wonder why we get mad. It's like all we did was exist. Yet we deal with discrimination. We can't get houses, we can't get cars, we can't get into good schools, we can't do all this stuff for the longest. There have to be laws put in place for you to wear your hair how you want to wear it. Like I understand we're talking about one situation, but it's like it brings to light all this other stuff. Like, why do we have to deal with this? Like, it's really it baffles me how a skin color makes one person running toward the police. Oh my God, let's not kill him. Let's go through all this de-escalation before I even pull my taser out. But for me and you, they'll walk up to the car door with us with their hand on their hip. For what? Like, ain't no reason to do all that. We get pulled over for driving a nice car that it looks like, oh no, it's no way that black person can afford that. Meanwhile, like nobody else has to deal with that stuff, and I get it. It's not just us. Asian Americans have been dealing with some stuff in the past weeks and months, and I get it.
Hispanic Americans as well.
Hispanic Americans as
Well,
well,
Hispanics. Mm-hmm.
but as far as we're concerned, it's like I just don't understand why we have to be considered a threat when nobody else is. And then it's like only reason we're a threat is because good and doggone well, if we had the opportunity, we will rise up and burn this country to the ground because we're pissed off at everything that's been happening for the past 400 years. And you're aware of that. And so they just try to keep us down so it don't happen. Like, go ahead, Ashley, because yeah, I'm. Mhm.
I mean, I honestly don't have much more to say about the situation. Like, people go, well, why did he evade arrest? Had he not evaded arrest, he would be still alive. Well, then you have cases like my soror, Sandra Bland.
Mhm.
Did she not go into she got pulled over for not using her turn light
Mhm.
and then somehow ended up dead in
In
a
jail,
jail
in
cell.
Waller County Jail.
So
Yeah.
you
Why?
the
Why do I not
people
want to comply? Because compliance still ends in death. So if I have an opportunity to get away from this, I am.
the people who keep doing these, well, what ifs, or if only you did this, or if only
Mhm.
you did that, or what if you did this, that does not work in a lot of situations.
Mhm.
Like,
Exactly.
sorry, it like we were talking about earlier, the lieutenant in the military who got pulled over by the police
Mhm.
doing nothing. It was a
Right.
traffic stop, and they
And
were harassing this man and kept spraying him with mace.
right.
That officer literally just got in trouble for that. Come and he's
And
suing.
and try
He's
and
suing them.
honestly, in he was making a wise decision. The lieutenant that got pulled over, because he pulled into a well-lit area off the road so that there wouldn't be so like because off of, like if you get pulled over in the freeway, they'll go to the other side or whatever. It's like, let me just go ahead and pull it to this gas station right here so that there's no issue for anybody involved. This can be a safe traffic stop and we can go home or go on about our day. And it ends up getting pepper spray. Like you said, it's like, wait. But you forgot to mention one thing, Ashley. You forgot to mention one thing. Getting mad about what's going on in America and kneeling the national anthem is disrespecting the troops. Remember that. But this was again an army lieutenant in full uniform. So this is a troop. This is a military person. But yet still getting pepper sprayed, which, just as a sidebar, is pretty stupid. Because if there's a list of people who might be immune to pepper spray, Army lieutenants are probably on that list. They've probably been pepper sprayed a few times in their training. So doing that was probably one of the stupidest things you could do, because all you did was probably piss them off, which you did. But back to the story, it's like they don't care. And it just goes to show they don't give a rip about us. And we've known this, but it just keeps getting brought to the forefront. Blue Lives Matter, respect the troops, stand for the flag. All that stuff was brought out in direct contrast to people saying Black Lives Matter and Black people not wanting to die for living their lives. That's literally all it was. And every single day we see stuff like this, stuff like Dante Wright, stuff like the lieutenant in Virginia. It just goes to show it's all hypocrisy, it's all BS, and it's all people just saying how much they don't like Black people just existing.
Yep. That's it. The officer who shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back, he is back at work with no discipline.
Yeah.
So if that don't tell you nothing,
no discipline. I
don't know what will.
Should see, like I said,
7 times in the back.
In the back. Look, Ashley, like I said, I get it. You pull somebody over, found out they got a warrant, you're taking them in, you're doing your job. Okay. Whatever. Things go south, man tries to run. I would think first thought would be, I don't know, use the 2 feet the guy gave you and run after them. That might be one, right? Then, okay, you realize, oh my God, this dude must have ran track in high school. He's a little quick. Gonna have to use another way to get him. I don't know. I have keys and have about 400 horsepower given to me by the state and the city and the taxpayers. You don't think that car might be a good idea, buddy? Then if it gets to that, okay, taser. And know where your damn taser is. There should be
or also if you just, those are all against your will, you could just put out an APB for him, look up where he lives, look up his associates, and once you find him, arrest him.
You just ran his plates, you ran his or her plates, and you were just holding their license. Shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds to figure out exactly, shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds to at least get an address on somebody.
It's right. Really, and then that person is alive. Like,
right.
You have no right. If a person decides to flee the police, you have no right to kill that person. That is not.
Yeah. I don't ever see a reason why a crime should mean automatic death when actual murder doesn't lead to death when it's a white person.
I mean, I feel you. It's all honestly depressing.
It is.
Having to see stuff like this, and this is happening literally 14 miles away from the Derek Chauvin trial that's going on right now. And then the Derek Chauvin defense sequestered the judge and was like, hey, all these protests are going on, like, can we, it was something about the jury, something about jury, can we do something with the jury? And judge was like, no. Like,
I had nothing to do with this.
Come on, I'm sorry, but the show will go on. Court will go on.
Right.
But I mean, just briefly speaking on the Derek Chauvin situation, it is now on the defensive side. And if Derek Chauvin were to get off for this murder that we all watched, the riots that happened during George Floyd's death, where you saw it everywhere, we're gonna get that plus more. Like,
Actually, I look, I don't. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be involved because I'm not.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be involved.
But
Maybe a peaceful protest, yes. I'm not looting or
I'll be
anything
there
like that.
peaceful. I'll be there peacefully. But me and you got stuff to live for. Me, like you know, me and you have told me, hey, let's stay away from certain things, just in case, to keep your job intact, which is 100% fair. You know, I don't have that. But I have other things, I'd rather not be in a certain position. So I wouldn't necessarily be out there. But for people who are not like me and you, who are a little bit more radical, I'm not, I'm not wishing this on this country because I still have to live here. But if Derek Chauvin gets off after that video, it's gonna be LA, it's gonna be Watts and Rodney King put together around this country. It's look,
Internationally, because
this
remember when it
country,
first happened to George Floyd, it was international.
this country won't know peace if Derek Chauvin gets off. I'm gonna just put it like this.
Yeah, because
Put it like
at that point, it's just like, at what level do you have to kill somebody on camera as a police officer and still get away with it? Because if that were a black man killing a white man, we all know what would happen. And for those of you saying, well, you're just saying that, I mean, it's brought up by facts.
It's facts.
Let me just give you a statistic. Since 2015, according to NPR, 135 unarmed Black women and men have been killed nationwide, all right, by police officers, in which 75% of them were white. Now, how many of them have been prosecuted? I'll just let you use your imagination. And, that's just how it is, bro. It's honestly sad. It's sad that we have to watch videos like this all the time. It's sad that we have to, repost and repost and repost, say his name, say her name. But, at the end of the day, that's just what we got to do because, at some point, like, you can't just lay down and not, you can't just lay down and be like, well, this is how it is. We made strides to be where we are today because of some of the people who came before us, So at some point, things have to change. We saw what happened in Georgia. Okay. Georgia gave Democrats the House. Georgia, elected Biden as president. Like, we saw what happened in Georgia and what happens when Black people get out and do their due diligence as American citizens to vote and actually use their power. Okay. We need to start seeing more stuff like that, because when it comes to police reform and things of that nature and police brutality, we have to keep saying her name. We have to keep saying his name. We have to keep their memory alive, because one day it's, oh, I thought this was my taser. And then it's, oh, I thought this was my apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be in your own apartment eating ice cream. You can't be in your own apartment eating sleep. There is literally no level in which this has not gone. Like, you can say, well, why did he resist? Why didn't he resist? Well,
you would resist too. You don't want to go to jail either.
There's a story for everything. Okay.
Right.
You could be peacefully minding your business and still get killed, as we have seen by police officers in America. Now, are all police bad? Absolutely not. But there are some bad apples. And once there are bad apples, I'm sorry, but
and those bad apples will spoil a whole bunch.
Right. So, hey,